A film centered especially on the figure of Montagnani, however exploited for the umpteenth time as a mannered character and a maniac without commitment, diminishing in fact what should be a good film on paper. A large cast of supporting character frame but adds nothing else to the film, a fact which highlight Gaburro's inability to manage the available material. Based on a novel by Nantas Salvalgio, nothing more than a modest comedy about the political and erotic intrigue of a provincial town. Gaburro's direction is very weak, and the dramatic upsurge developed by Montagnani's excellent acting skills, until then dormant by the usual attitude of an invertebrate playboy, last too little. The contribution of the big names and of the numerous supporting characters were minimal, among which the do-nothing Fangaregi stand out. The bed in the square, like saying the rag washed in public. This is the ultimate meaning of the title of the film by Bruno Gaburro, based on the homonymous novel by Nantas Salvalgio. The film is often pinned to the vein of comedy, rightly so, but also somewhat wrongly, given that it sounds a bit reductive as a classification. The point is that there is Montagnani, a torrent of women, and there is talk of horns ago by transistive property. The level of unglued comedy goes without saying. Repeat, not that it is an error in the absolute sense, but as we are accustomed to considering the vein of comedy, a letto in piazza should go up a few steps. We are somewhere in the province of Lake Garda. The head of the Proloco, Lucarielli, is an irreducible Casanova who from night to night reviews all the women, wives, bride, girlfriend, daughters and sister of the town. His conquests are collected in a spicy diary that he jealously guards. It is the pride of his friends and the same of his moralistic fellow villagers, who point him out as a bad guy. It happens that one day really runs into an American girl, Jenny, who is about to commit suicide by drowning himself in the lake. He saves her and stays close to her, having understood that the girl is severely depressed. Her father is an American tycoon passing through the area. Spotted by the locals estate boy and by various kinds of businessmen. The rich man is involved in a pharaonic building project which involves the construction of a gigantic hotel with 500 rooms on Lake Garda. The man, worried about his daughter's health, welcomed the positive influence that really exerts on the girl. This sympathy happened, all of Really's friends will put pressure on him to court the girl. Really naively believe that these advices are disinterested and for a good purpose until his brother-in-law opened his eyes. Montagnani will conceive an exemplary punishment, having climbed the bell tower after having symbolically placed his double bed in the center of the square. He will read the pages of his diary one by one, blaming the irreproachable wives and the most honored husband of the town. Jenny, purely in love with Really, unlike the rest of the population, will not abandon her savior, but rather beg him to follow her to build a new life together elsewhere. Gaburro insists a lot on the theme of social satire and on the demolition of hypocritical moralism. However, he does it by contrasting cliches and cliches. In fact, the female figures in the film are divided into two categories: the whore wives or the fairy angel. The German Rita Silva is sensational as she plays the nymphomaniac without a reason. Perhaps the most nonsense moment of the entire film. In reality, there is also an exception: the prostitute played by Rossana Podesta, a friend with whom Montagnani confided openly. Even this character, however, lacks a bit of pedantic common sense, since from an inverted but quite predictable point of view, the prostitute is the least whore of all. She does it for work, not for pleasure, and takes care of Montagnani like a caring wife. In short, a transparent figure in contrast to the meanness of the village. The attention and the level of anatomical detail that the film dedicates to Montagnani's amorous conquest understandably push to place the film in the erotic section. Some scenes are quite generous in showing the protagonist of the embraces. For example, the daughter of the bartender, whom Montagnani deflower while her father is at the stadium cheering on Milan. Patrizia Webley, who even make love with Montagnani letting herself be spied on by her husband. Or in any case, even where nothing explicit is seen, the allusion is strongly transgressive. Montagnani makes a few irresistible jokes of his, but overall the film is limp, flat, predictable. On the other hand, the beautiful dramatic parenthesis is surprising, magnificently interpreted as usual by Montagnani. Or when his Luca really understand what is happening in the village without his knowledge, and conceive a very poisonous showdown right on top of that bell tower, which at the beginning of the film had seen him groping the buttock of a flamboyant woman dressed in red. A public act of libido which is severely reproached by the village parish priest during Mass. In a scene made of penumbra at the Podesta house, Montagnani recites an intense and touching monologue, during which the film suddenly changes register, passing from brisk comedy to drama, perhaps the true climax of the story. The Bed in the Square is a 1976 film directed by Bruno Gaburro and starring Renzo Montagnani. Although it can be written in the vein of comedy, it is a rather refined film that presents a good dose of drama and introspection of the characters. The screenplay is based on the novel of the same name by Nantas Salvaggio. Luca really has a reputation as a conqueror of women. The plot of the story takes place in the town square, where Luca spares no one, from the pharmacist to the bartender's daughter. The story changes when Luca runs into Jennifer, an American girl who is about to commit suicide, which triggers in him a feeling of protection toward her, who will fall in love with him. The villagers try at all costs to convince Luca to marry the girl, who is also very rich. But Luca will end up returning to his old habit of seducer until a radical awareness takes place in him, which moreover will involve in a way indirectly all the inhabitants of Salo. Luca really is an unrepentant womanizer who lives in a town located on the shores of Lake Garda. A bachelor in his early 40s, he has an immoderate passion for the women. He seamlessly seduces all the women that come his way, from the daughter of the pharmacist to the daughter of the owner of the village bar. Every now and then he allows himself an adventure with a beautiful passing tourist. All of his exploits end up noted in the personal diary that Luca writes, diligently noting the details. Even more gory than his turbulent love life. One day, the beautiful Jenny Milton, the very rich daughter of an American tycoon, happened to among the passing tourists. Lucas saves her from a suicide attempt, but this time he doesn't try to attract her to his gymnasium. In fact, the girl seemed too young to Luca, and for her, he seemed to develop a feeling halfway between protective and paternal. Soon, however, the girl falls in love with him, and there are rumors of the thing in the village. Luca is practically encouraged by the notables of the village to continue and possibly marry the beautiful heiress. In fact, the notables have set their sight on the girl's asset and intend to exploit it for a speculation that should enrich them all. But Luca, who is not naive at all, discovers the plot hatch behind him. He takes his revenge by climbing the bell tower of the village and reading his diary to the shock village. Then he decides to go crazy with him. A clone of many films of the Italian comedy, set in the sinful Italian province, letto in piazza